Coming up on City Spotlight, we kick off Season 12 of City Spotlight. And in this first episode of Season 12, we'll feature two communities. We start the episode off with a trip back to Shelbyville and visit with longtime guest of the program, Shelbyville Mayor Jeff Johnson. In this segment on Shelbyville, Jeff will give us an overview of annual activities in Shelbyville. And Jeff will tell us about organizations in the community that make many of the things in Shelbyville possible. Then we head to Arcola and sit down once again with Pat Monahan of Monahan Partners in Arcola. Pat will tell us about the idea of bringing back a broom palace to downtown Arcola. And Pat will give us his insight on what the new broom palace in Arcola will do for the community moving forward. It's the start of another season on City Spotlight Season 12 as we feature the communities of Shelbyville and Arcola here on City Spotlight. City Spotlight on WEIU-TV is underwritten by the Illinois Arts Council, a state agency. And hello and welcome to another edition of City Spotlight. We are kicking off Season 12 of City Spotlight. Yes, 10 years, 12 seasons. We have continued on this program, and we are kicking Season 12 off with another two community episode. We're going to start things off in Shelbyville as we tape here on August 21st, back at City Hall, and a very familiar guest to the program, Shelbyville Mayor Jeff Johnson. Your 10th appearance on the program, Jeff. I had to count it because I thought we were close.
Yeah,
great to
that's
have you
hard to
on again.
believe. It's great to be on again. It's always good to visit with you, and it's hard to believe it's been 10 times.
Well, you have a good time doing something. Time does fly.
It really does.
Jeff was on Season 1 in the studio, and I think every other time since then, 9 times in a row now here in Shelbyville. Our last time with Jeff, beginning of 2024, we taped just down the road here at the Foxmore, and we'll hopefully catch up on how that place is doing here later in the interview.
Sounds good to me. They're doing great.
Awesome. So we usually get Jeff in the non-summer months, but we got you right at the beginning of the season here near the tail end of summer, and we're going to highlight all the activities that happen annually in this community. We've touched upon them on this program through the years, but let's go ahead and do that. And I know there's a few months left in the year, but we're going to highlight some of the activities that have happened already this year. And moving forward, I'm going to try and do this chronologically. So if I mess one up, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So earlier in the spring, we were just talking before we hit the record button, the Chautauqua building, which we've talked about so many times on this program.
Yeah, such a great facility.
Leading up to the renovation. And the renovation happened, and the facility is open. It's doing what you want to do. You had the Chet Kingery Bluegrass Festival there. Tell us about that. That must have been an exciting time to have something like that at that Chautauqua.
It really is. It's great, and they do such a wonderful job. They've been out there for the last 2 or 3 years, and each year it grows, it gets bigger, and brings a lot of people into town. And the music is wonderful, and we've been getting good feedback. And we talked to the people who put it on, and I think that we just did some research, and we're going to do some acoustics work to the Chautauqua building this fall. So it'll be ready for next year in 2026 whenever they have their next festival. And we always like to make the experience a little bit better every time. So.
You showed me a clip on your phone before we hit the record button, and I've been in the Chautauqua pre and post renovation and seen that beautiful stage. And to see what a band and audience look like, that had to be magical for those of you that have been in this community and may have remembered what the Chautauqua was once, and now it is what it is now.
Yeah.
The Chautauqua was in Forest Park, busy avenue there. I see over your shoulder a Mark Shanks commissioner. We've had him on the program talking about all the renovation. Talk about, again, Jeff, recap the efforts that it took to get what you guys are now enjoying.
Yeah. It took a while. It took a lot of effort. There was a lot of people who raised money, a lot of ideas, a lot of work towards festivals and things like that. And then we had an advisory referendum for the city. And that a lot of the people you talk to, they said, well, yeah, that's quite a bit of money, but it was kind of 50-50, and then it seems like at the end it all broke towards, well, once it's gone, and we need to keep what we have. We need to build on our heritage. And so if I remember right, I think it was like 70% of the people voted to go ahead and spend the money.
That's good.
And it is. We found a company that specialized in repairing barns and saving old barns, and they put in a bid and they did the work on it. And it is a wonderful facility. Like you say, you walk in there, you look at it, and you look at how big it is, and no internal support. It's all, done through the engineering, the wonders that they did back then, and we're really proud of the building, and we're glad to see it being used.
They were able to preserve the structure. I think I got some video near the end of the completion, talking with Mr. Shanks, who's been on the program, and I like the word you used there, heritage. It's a part of Shelbyville's history.
It truly is.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because Shelbyville's getting close to being 200 years old. And,
wow.
And that we've been talking a little bit about that on what we could do and what we can recognize.
What year would that be?
So if I remember right, I think 1827. So 1827 is when the first. So it's coming up fairly quick. And
there's a lot of communities. Actually, at the end of season 11, we went to Philo, Illinois, 150 years there. A lot of communities are hitting their marks, whether it be 150, 175, or in the case of Shelbyville, 200.
And it's always interesting because you see when something was first built here, or whenever the county was first recognized, and then whenever the city was first incorporated as a city. So there's different dates, but we're looking forward to it. And there's a lot of, like I say, heritage. There's a lot of people and family. We've had so many people investing in the buildings downtown and saving the ones that are 100+ years old. And that's the secret, is to, be able to walk by there. And I remember whenever that used to be a sporting goods store, or whenever we used to have 2 or 3 different men's clothes.
Or when we taped at the Foxmore last, you told me what you remembered it was when you were a kid. And
yep, it was a Sears building, and my mom worked there. And so, yep.
Awesome. All right, let's move along. So we gave some love to the Chautauqua, something we've talked about a lot on this program. Also this past spring, you had the IHSA State Bass Fishing Tournament, and a lot of people made that possible. The Corps of Engineers, the schools, and the city all worked together to make that tournament happen.
Yeah, what is it they say? Teamwork makes the dream work, and so...
That's what my cohort Lacey Spence tells me every day. It's like teamwork makes the dream work, and 3 entities made a state tournament happen.
Yeah. And it was great because everybody got together and said, it would be good to have this here in town. And that everybody had their own little areas of expertise. But, you're right, the Corps of Engineers, that they helped with the facilities, and Greg Harkins at the school and the school system, they were aware, and they had gone to these tournaments before, and what makes them work and what doesn't, and what people like and what they don't. And then the city was glad to do a lot of the, the behind the scenes, I guess, and to provide where we could. And so with all of us working together, it wasn't a great burden on anybody, but it worked out well, and we got so much good feedback from the teams that were here from all over the state. And was proud to see that, and proud to hear the comments, and already looking towards next year and what we can do different next year. Because last year was our first year, so it was a learning experience.
Well, so like the Bluegrass Festival, and maybe have some new annual traditions building amongst all of your classic ones.
Well, yep, we do. That's what we want to try and do.
Speaking of classic festivals that happen, coming up here, Columbus Day weekend, the Scarecrow Days and Balloon Festival. I've taped that here in recent years. What a great event. It's basically 2 events in one in Shelbyville. Getting preparations for that, I'm sure, are ramping up.
Yeah, at the last city council meeting, we were talking to some people about that, and of course, I think that all these things are a year-long effort. But
one ends, and you start preparing for the next.
Yeah, or that some of this stuff, the same people are working on the thing all year long, and it just takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. But they've done a wonderful job, and you especially in the fall, and the leaves are changing, and you go out and you see these balloons. Across the lake, or the glow out at the airport. There's music and vendors and food, and it is. It's just a great time to go out and take your family, take the kids, and enjoy the time.
I've been sharing a few images from the most recent one that I taped. I was getting flashbacks just sitting here, the way you were described, like, yes, I remember what that looks like.
Yeah.
'Cause it wasn't too long ago I was there. At the end of the year, you have the Festival of Lights, Forest Park. That's always very beautiful. I haven't quite experienced that yet. It's on my a list of things to do, but talk about that, the lighted trail and the whole Festival of Lights in Shelbyville.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's been going on for a lot of years. Yeah. And the last few years, they've had a festival of trees, in the Chautauqua building, and that's growing every year. And it's just, beautiful to see. The last couple of years, I don't remember if it was last year or the year before, that the weather was perfect on opening night. And they let everybody walk through, and then they have Santa and hot chocolate and cookies. And during the Light Festival, the Chautauqua building is always hosting something on the weekends, whether it be Santa, whether it be kids programs, whether it be music. And then you can always go in to see the trees. And I'm trying to remember how many there were last year. I think that it was up to 50 or so, and I know they're looking at this year and expecting even more. So.
I know you wanted to highlight a couple of organizations that make things possible in the community, that make these events, whether they be in the downtown or throughout the community, the Shelbyville Chamber of Commerce, and also the local Lions Club, which is celebrating 65 years. Talk about those groups.
Okay, I sure will. Yeah, the Chamber, they've really been active and been doing a lot of things and having different weekend events. And it's good to see where everybody can get together and enjoy. And proud of what the Chamber's been working on and trying to accomplish. And the Lions Club, I'm in the Lions Club.
All
and
right.
We just had our steak fry a couple weeks ago, so that made me think. And it was the 60th anniversary of the Lions Club. And here locally, what we do is we raise sweet corn and sell it to raise money. And then we give some to the schools for scholarships. We give some to help support the Boy Scouts. There's littler amounts that we give to a lot of the things like the Light Festival, post-prom activities, and there's a cancer organization at the hospital that we donate to. And so we just try and do things for the community, and all of the money that we raise, we use to try and make Shelbyville a better place. So it's all people wanting to give a little bit of their time to help make the community better.
Great to be able to share the work of and give a shout out to those organizations that make a lot of these things possible. I want to kind of on a personal note say that I was recently here in Shelbyville with my younger two boys, and the last Sunday before school starting, and we came over and enjoyed the beach there at Lake Shelbyville, and came and experienced the Roxy.
Yeah.
You have a single screen theater in downtown, that beautiful marquee that always grabs my eyes whenever I drive through and tape with you, Jeff. And some communities don't have movie theaters, and you have albeit a single screen movie theater. What an enjoyable experience we had. It reminded me of the olden days and the old Will Rogers Theater in Charleston that I used to attend as a kid. I know we haven't really talked about the Roxy Borman Theater in Shelbyville, but you have a downtown movie theater, and that's something that people can enjoy.
Yeah, it is. It's great, and it brings people into the downtown area and gets them out walking, which is what we like to do. But it was kind of the same thing, and I hate to keep repeating myself, but the theater that whenever I was a young boy, I think that it was there. I don't know, my mom even remembers being there, and that was her first job as a popcorn girl, she used to say. But I think it closed in the 60s, and then it was a couple other stores. And then several years ago, that we had local people who donated money and got it restored. And now to be able to have the movies right here available, and it's a great place to be able to go and to see a movie. And I'm glad you were able to stop by, and I'm glad you had a good time.
We had a wonderful time swimming and seeing the movie in Shelbyville on a Sunday.
But it's one of those things. Local people wanted to do it. They got together. They made it happen. And then it's been here for a lot of years now.
Want to end our interview with Jeff. I know we could probably do the whole taping today, but we're going to leave a few minutes for our next segment here. But I know that the last time we taped was at the Foxmoor at the beginning of 2024.
Yeah.
And you talked about what that once was. I've been hearing a lot of good things. Tell us how the Foxmoor is doing now a year and a half later.
Yeah, it's doing real good, and it's bringing a lot of activities to town. It's bringing a lot of weddings to town, and that it's such a beautiful facility. And I know that they are working on other things that will be coming along here before too long. And so, yeah, it is. It's, like I say, one of those old buildings that you just don't find anywhere. And they have such talent and they do such a good job that it's beautiful to see.
All right. Talking all things with the regular here on the program, the Mayor of Shelbyville, Jeff Johnson. Jeff, thank you for coming on a 10th time.
You bet.
Highlighting the things going on in your hometown, and always a treat to come to Shelbyville. I look forward to our conversations.
I do too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Coming up next here on the season premiere of Season 12 of City Spotlight, we'll change locations, another community with purple themes, Arcola. We'll talk the Arcola Broom Palace with Pat Monahan. But first, let's take a look at some of the upcoming activities going on in the communities of Shelbyville and Arcola. And we're back here on City Spotlight, this season premiere of Season 12 of City Spotlight, this two-community episode. And we have traveled from Shelbyville back to Arcola. As you can see, we're outside, got the extreme wide shot going there because we have the new Arcola Broom Palace behind us. And to help us talk all about it, the person with the idea behind that, Pat Monahan of Monahan Partners. Great to have Pat back on the program, Pat. Always a treat to have you on City Spotlight and back on WIU.
Well, welcome again to Arcola. I mean, you've done a great job publicizing our town and our actions, and we really appreciate it. And we're glad to have you back again because we're real proud of this palace.
Hopefully folks at home can see the palace in the wide shot. We'll have many more visuals throughout the interview because that's going to be the main focus of our taping today here with Pat. A few months back, we taped just over here at City Hall with Mayor Garza and Bill Wagner from the city. Told us all about this facility that was up and mostly complete, not yet open to many individuals, but it is now open, a grand opening. We'll talk about that here in a second. But it was your idea, Pat, I believe so. And
yeah.
tell us about the idea. I know this is not the first broom palace in Arcola.
Well, 1898, we did have a broom palace, a broomcorn palace.
And you weren't around then, right?
I'm just a little bit before my time, but not a whole lot. But they put it up for 5 days to celebrate the harvest festival. And in that 5 days, even though there were no cars, no TV, no way to get the word out that Arcola had a broomcorn palace, we drew 20,000 people from this area to visit it during those 5 days. And after the 5 days, they took it down. They did put it up again the next year, but then it got to be too much of an effort and they dropped it. But so I always had that in the background of because we made a model of the Broomcorn Palace for the Broomcorn Festival many years ago and display it. And it's still displayed in the broom tent at the festival. And we had an empty lot down here, and I did a little research on the Mitchell Corn Palace in Mitchell, South Dakota. And they're a town of 15,000 people out in the middle of nowhere, 5 hours from Minneapolis. They are on the interstate like we are. But they draw 500,000 people a year for really, it's a palace, but it's got murals on the outside that are made with corn kernels, but inside there's nothing really to see or do. There's a gymnasium in there, and of course they have a gift shop. So we thought, well, maybe we could do something like that, complement the other tourist attractions in the area. You know, the Amish are just a terrific draw. People are so curious about their way of life and their religion and why they do what they do. And Aikman Wildlife is a real strong, and this Mattoon Emerald Acres with a sports complex. People will come, they'll have a baseball game at 9 in the morning and they won't play again.
So there's a lot of things, a lot of things regionally.
Yeah, so we're real thankful to have this facility now, and we're quite confident we'll get some nice big crowds into our downtown. So,
all right, so the idea was there. Give people, if they're just now tuning in and going, wow, what's this thing behind us here in Arcola? When did the physical construction of it, I know that this was the metropolitan business area here. It opened up and so you obviously had the land to put something somewhere, right?
Yeah, there was a building here that had structural damage, and the city did tear it down, so the city did own the lot.
Right.
And so they've been most helpful in donating a lot. They also did this pavilion where we're sitting with these nice, colorful sails.
Appreciate the shade.
And so really 2.5 years ago is when I had the idea, so it wasn't something that happened overnight like when they put that Broom Palace up in 1898, because they probably put it up in 3 weeks. But,
okay.
So we had to raise a bunch of money, like $900,000, and we found a real excellent contractor, Graber Building, which has Graber hardware stores here in Arcola and Tuscola and between Arthur and Sullivan.
Right.
They've been terrific partners, and they've been real helpful in not only sticking with the contract, but they threw in some extras that helped us quite a bit too. And the community, we can't really thank the community enough for the generosity we've experienced in this community. And one other thing, when I first started, I thought, well, the city will own it. But the city said no, because we really want a retail outlet, a way to keep it going, self-supporting. But the city said, no, if you have retail outlets in there, we can't own it. So we took an existing Arcola organization and converted it into a 501c3, the Arcola Community Organization, and they've just done a terrific job. They've basically taken over the finishing up of the palace, finishing the Chamber of Commerce area in the interior. My brother Tim Monahan put a theater in there to show a film of broom corn and how brooms are made, how broom corn is grown, and how expensive it is to harvest.
Right.
And Libman does have a factory outlet store. They really have some bargain prices because they're charging basically wholesale prices. So you're buying the same as Walmart's buying from Libman when you go in there. And Libman, they're the leading cleaning tool manufacturer in the United States. So they got a big line, and of course they'll have broom corn. They do have broom corn brooms in there.
All right, we're about halfway through our interview, Pat. I want to make sure to talk about what's inside, and obviously there's an important opening for this facility coming up with the upcoming Broom Corn Festival. I know some organizations in town from what I've seen on social media. A nice job by the Arcola Chamber of Commerce, done a nice job of helping show this place off to this point. What are all the things that are inside the Broom Palace?
Well, first of all, the primary thing is a Chamber of Commerce tourism stoppage. Closed our tourism outpost in the depot.
And what a wonderful facility that's been for Arcola for a number of years.
It's one of the few original depots still around from the old glory days when the trains used to stop everywhere along the
word depot. The word depot, let alone, is pretty dated, isn't it?
Yeah. So they're in there, and there's a display of craft brooms when you first walk in too. Really, there's some beautiful. It's like a folk art. And we have a national competition during the Broom Corn Festival, and we get maybe 200 craft brew makers in the United States. Several of them, like 20 or 25, will send in brooms, and we got some art-based judges to say which one looks the most aesthetically pleasing to hang on a wall. And so it's pretty fierce competition. We have some beautiful brooms, and they're on display in there. The theater, as I mentioned, will be showing a continuous film on how broom corn is grown. In fact, there's a patch of broom corn growing on the other side of the palace right now, and how brooms are made and how much labor intensive the whole process is. And then on the second floor, the Arcola Back in Time Museum they're still getting organized, but they're making good progress, and they got exhibits because they did have a location here on Main Street, and they had to close it for a while. And now they've reopened, in the process of reopening on the second floor. And the third floor is an observation deck. I think in the Corn Palace, the top floor, the third floor at the Corn Palace is the most popular thing. People go up and get a nice different view of a small town downtown. So, so we're excited, and we're having a fundraiser. We don't have an elevator yet, but we will. We're starting. We have some pavers left, and we're selling for $5,000.
So an elevator is
the next big thing and the final big thing, I think.
All right, just a few minutes left, Pat. So 3 floors. Obviously, it's not made of broom corn like the original. and it's centrally located. You can't get more central Arcola than where we're at. It's the central focus. You have the big, gigantic Arcola purple behind us here.
Yeah.
You got the Broomtown Cafe, and I know it's been open. People have seen the facility, but there's a big grand opening that first day of the upcoming Broomcorn Festival.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Again, we have just a couple minutes left. That's when you're gonna big grand opening.
Yeah, correct. We at the Broomcorn Friday, the September 5th, we have a sweeping contest, a national sweeping contest.
Oh,
right
so much fun! I'm gonna do that one of these years. I want to do it.
They need you. We need you. Ramin. So as soon as the sweeping contest is over at 5 o'clock, they'll have a ribbon cutting, and the mayor and other people that have been involved with building this palace will have a few short words, and then we'll open it up, and the movie will be going, the ribbons will be open.
So very good. So Broomcorn Festival, obviously one of the major highlights of the year for Arcola. Taped it here on City Spotlight, always a treat. I love the broom sweeping. That's honestly my favorite part of the whole. I know the parade is great and the lawn rangers. I love the broom sweeping. It's just so much fun, regardless of how people do, good or bad. Last question for you, Pat. This is the latest big thing in Arcola. My question is, what does it represent to Arcola, and what do you want it to stand for and mean for Arcola moving forward?
Well, I think it will become a symbol of basically our public art capital. You know, we have 16 murals. We have the statues of Raggedy Ann and Andy and Ben Franklin.
Yes.
and the Hippie Memorial.
Yeah.
And we have these sweeping beauties, the fiberglass brooms
They're
with
awesome.
different slogans on them. So people can come to Arcola and have a great time without spending a dime.
There's a lot of things you can look at in Arcola. Now you have this big, tall structure behind us, the new Arcola Broom Palace. Always a treat to have Pat Monahan from Monahan Partners.
My pleasure.
I'm going to say this with due respect. The king of Arcola got his castle behind him here. It's such a treat to come back to Arcola and talk to Pat. And congratulations. This is quite a beautiful structure, and one other reason to come to amazing Arcola.
No, thank you, Ramin. And it was a team effort. So
absolutely, always is. This will wrap up the season premiere of season 12 of City Spotlight, featuring the communities of Shelbyville and Arcola. Thanks for watching. City Spotlight on WEIU TV is underwritten by the Illinois Arts Council, a state agency